could be, well, according to the animal, that's probably the intestines and things, and the bowels
The center. Mm-hmm.
of the animal.
Mm-hmm. The central part, the most important part.
Yeah. Yes. And those can be the worst smelling parts.
That would be the mind. I got a dirty mind, right? You gotta wash that mind, clean that mind,
Said,
right?
you got to burn up that stuff on the altar. You got to get rid of it. Let it get consumed. And then you can be that sweet savor unto Yah.
Oh my.
Ooh, once you get cleaned up inwardly. And you can tell when people are cleaned up inwardly because it shows in their conversation and in their conduct.
Now, something else interesting too, in that it says to bring a male
I saw that.
and not a female. Why? What's significant of that? Females tend to be more ready to yield and to be broken, but men don't. On an average, men are
More stubborn.
stiff-necked, stubborn, rebellious, never admit they wrong. So he said, bring that strong man. Offer that strong man unto Yah. The man who believes he's infallible. I could never be wrong. Bring him into contrition. Show him that he is nothing without me. He needs Yah to help him.
Humble himself.
Right. Oh my goodness. Woo. All of your wealth and your intelligence, right? Your good looks. The gift of gab we have. I can talk my way out of trouble. Yeah, I said, okay. Bring that man. Bring that strong man. All right. Bring the male. Right? What verse was that? The male?
That was up towards the top when we first started reading. I saw male.
Right.
Verse 3.
3? Okay. Okay, now let's continue verse 14. So this is for the poor people, right? The poor people is significant of those. Well, I don't sin a lot, not like the big people, right? So this is for the little sinners, right?
And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to Yah be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons. And the priest shall bring it unto the altar and wring off his head and burn it upon the altar, and the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar. And he shall pluck away his crop with his feathers and cast it beside the altar on east part by the place of the ashes. And he shall cleave it with the wings thereof, but shall not divide it asunder. And the priest shall burn it upon the altar, upon the wood that is upon the fire. It is a burnt offering, an offering made by fire, of a sweet savor unto Yah.
So, what's that saying? The poor people gotta live holy.
Everybody.
Because you don't have a ram, you don't have the money, you don't drive a ram truck. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't resist that. You don't have the money that the rich have, but yet Yah gave you a parallel. That which you think is not worth nothing. A pigeon. Right? You could bring a turtle dove or a pigeon. And now notice the priest was the one who brought that to the altar. And the priest wrung off his head and burn it in the altar. So also that could be symbolic also of what? A child. So the priest wrung the head off in this case. Why? To be an example to the child, right? Is that right?
Which verse you reading at? Priest shall bring it upon the
15.
altar and wring off his head.
So he said, if your burnt offering be of the fowls, a bird covered with feathers, rather as covering with wings. Right.
I mean, where are you getting killed?
No, I'm saying the sacrifice is something that anybody could bring. That type of sacrifice.
Okay.
So it could be symbolic of somebody who's poor, or it could be symbolic of a child. A child who's of an adult age where they're old enough to know right from wrong, but yet they made some small sins, you know, in the learning process of learning about life. Okay. So let's go back to, what time is it? 2:30. Let's go back to to Hebrews, having the shadow, Hebrews 10. So these sacrifices are a shadow of good things. Okay, so you read what verse? Do you remember what verse you left off at?
Did I stop at 6? I'm not sure.
You read
I'm
6.
not sure. I don't think I read that far down. Maybe I stopped at.
Okay, let's continue reading, because see, someone was saying, brother, you keep reading, that means that you know,
I didn't read that far down.
Yahshua ended all the sacrifices, so that means that we complete in him. All right, so let's do it. Let's read.
I think I just read verse 1. Yeah.
You only read verse 1? Okay, good. Continue then.
For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshippers once purged should have had no more conscience of sins. But in those sacrifices there is a remembrance again made of sins every year.
Okay, stop for a second. Now someone would say, "Oh, brother, okay, so if you make a comparison, if there's a remembrance of sin every year, and if the sacrifice, if Yahshua being the sacrifices cause the remembrance of sin to be no more, then how can we still sin?" Right? Sin still exists, right? All right, go ahead.
For it is not possible that the blood of bulls and of goats should take away sins.
Right.
Wherefore, when he cometh into the world, he saith, Sacrifice and offering thou wouldest not, but a body hast thou prepared me.
Mm-hmm.
In burnt offerings and sacrifices for sin thou hast had no pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Then said I, Lo, I come, in the volume of the book it is written of me, to do thy will, O Yah.
Mm-hmm.
Where?
Verse 8.
Okay, because I moved my cursor. Above, when he said, Sacrifice and offering and burnt offerings and offerings for sin thou wouldest not, neither hadst pleasure therein, which are offered by the law.
Mm-hmm.
Then said he, Lo, I come to do thy will, O Yah. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. By the which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of the Mashiach once and for all. And every priest standeth daily ministering and offering oftentimes the same sacrifices which can never take away sins. But this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of Yah.
Okay. Question. We just read that Yahshua offered a sacrifice once and for all for sin. What is that saying? Is that saying that there's no more need for any more sacrifices for sin?
He became the sacrifice for sin. He sacrificed himself, and just as he sacrificed himself, we must sacrifice our own selves.
That's all it's saying. That's all it's saying, right?
And that's how we, as the scripture says, we bear in our body the marks. That's our crucifying.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So the sacrifice, Yahshua sacrifices once and for all. Now, of course, for all is in italicized. We won't deal with that, but by which will we are sanctified through the offering of the body of Yahshua once. Right? Because why? Question is, did Yahshua sin? So he being what? Our example. He being
It's the perfect sacrifice.
right. To show us that what the sacrificial system was all about. It's all about us learning. It says he humbled himself under death. Right? So it's all about humbling ourselves, being humiliated, right, to the will of the Father, which is what? Walking in his ways so that we can be like him. Right? So the misunderstanding of that verse would make you think, oh, okay, so that's why we don't sacrifice animals no more. Well, we already covered the fact that we don't sacrifice animals. There wasn't the intention of the law to take the place of obedience. So that's where you see the parallel of Yahshua. He was obedient to Yah in all points.
Mm-hmm.
He was tempted like we are in all points, but he obeyed Yah.
Without sin. Yeah.
Right. All right, go ahead. Where you leave off at?
We'll pick up at verse 11, baby.
Okay.
And every priest standeth daily ministering and oft. I think I read that. But
Okay. Right.
I'll do verse 12. I'm not sure.
You read that one too. No, you didn't. You didn't read that one.
But this man, verse 12, but this man, after he had offered one sacrifice for sins forever, sat down on the right hand of Yah, from henceforth expecting till his enemies became his footstool.
Mm-hmm.
For by one offering he hath perfected forever them that are sanctified. Whereof the Ruach also is a witness to us, for after that he had said before, this is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith Yah. I will put my laws into their hearts and in their minds, and I will write them, and their sins and iniquities will I remember no more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I thought it was finished. Now, wherefore, remission of these there is no more offering for sin.
That's good. So this is the covenant. So when you say this is contradictory, if we're not under the law, for him, if he offered the sacrifice once and